Okay, and I'm a professor here in the department in fisheries, and you're going to get to see a lot of different things today. You're going to get to see fish that we raise for food, right? But we do a lot more than that in fisheries. We also help people manage all the fish that live in the ponds and the streams and the lakes around the state, as well as the ocean down in the Gulf of Mexico. And we even have people working up in Alaska to study salmon. If you ever eaten salmon, those big fish, so, but how many of you like to eat fish? Some of you do. Good. How many of you like to have been fishing and like to go angling? Been angling? You like to fish?
Not that kind of fishing.
Well, we do that kind of fishing too, but we have to catch them a little bit faster than we can catch them just with a hook and line. So we need to have some ways to catch them quickly. Okay? So one of the ways, we use like big nets. You've probably seen them go out with a big net and scoop them up. We need to use little small dip nets sometimes to catch them that way. But one of the main ways that we use in freshwater is this boat right here. And that's Jake out there. He's one of our technicians, works with us. This is called an electrofishing boat. Okay, now an electrofishing boat is one that uses electricity to fish. Now, you've probably been told, and this is true, never mix electricity with water, right? We'll be very careful with electricity. But when you get older, if you decide you want to work in fisheries, you'll get a chance to learn how to do this safely so that you can pass some electricity through the water and stun the fish, not kill them, just stun them, pick them up. We can measure, weigh them, we can even see what they've been eating, and then put them back, okay? So we're going to show you some fish that we've caught actually caught them out of that pond over there, but using this boat. And what happens is there's a generator on the back of the boat. It generates an electric current that goes through these probes right down here. It's not all right now, so it's not shocking the through the water, back to the boat, and creates a big electric. The electric will put a fish stun, and they all come up to the water to get them up. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work too. Yeah.
When you start the fish, do they float to the top?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. They have gas bladders, so they begin to float. Come up, and they just sort of lay there on the surface and we get them up. So let's look at some of the fish. Y'all stay back because you don't want to get your feet all muddy. And I'll show you some of the fish. Okay. Now this, and I want to get my hands wet because anytime you touch a fish, you want your hands to be wet. Now one of the fish that's really common in this. Whoops! That's all right. He's all right. All right. This is called a bluegill sunfish. Okay.
Can I touch him?
You can. You can touch it. Kind of slimy. All right. Well, I'll let you touch the teeth on one of these in a minute. Okay.
This teeth on it?
These do have little teeth, little bitty teeth.
Oh, he tried to bite you.
That's all right. He's not going to hurt me. Okay. This animal eats little insects and little zooplankton and things in the water. You're going to keep me on time, right? Okay. All right. Good. And this is a male bluegill.
How can you tell?
I know he's a male because he's big and round, and he's dark colored, and he's got that big patch on his blue patch on his gills. And the females are kind of light colored and have little pointy heads. Okay. And so by being big and dark like that, he's saying, "Look how tough I am. I'm big, powerful. Stay away from my nest." Okay, that's what he's doing. You can touch his tail. And we have some forms down there. We have some forms when you get to do your fish prints that look just like that. So now this is a guy. Whoops, that the other fish, when they're small, like to eat. Okay, I'm going to show you some of those too. How much time have I got?
Are we going to release them?
Okay.
Throw it back in?
Show me. Come here.
He's too strong.
Now this one.
Oh,
that's a
catfish. That's a big
Kick in my belly.
Right. Get in.
Now this one, I'm just going to hold in the net.
Yeah.
Because this guy, and I don't want you reaching in and touching him, okay? Because he's got some, well, they can, but they're not going to hurt you. But what they can hurt you with, they have big spines on the side. And these big spines, see how hard that spine is?
Yeah.
Well, if he flipped, he could stick me or you, so I don't want to do that. Real sharp spines. Why do you think they have those spines? Exactly. So that when a big fish comes along, another big fish wants to eat them, they stick those spines in and say, "Not me. You're not going to get me." Okay. So that's a channel catfish. Yeah, and they do that. We'll put him back in a second. Let's put him back. Let's get up. So now we're going to show you what Periscope is. Periscope.
Yeah. I don't eat catfish. I don't eat catfish. So
That trout? That's a rainbow trout? That looks like rainbow. Bass?
I want to see a beta fish. Is that sea tail?
You know what this is?
It's a bass, isn't it?
That's a largemouth bass. You know why it's called a largemouth?
Look at that.
Oh, look at that mouth. You can. This is the one I told you could feel its teeth. You know, its teeth, right?
Thank you. All right.
It's all right. He won't hurt you. Go ahead and touch it.
Do it, Trinity.
They kind of point backwards. They're brushy and they kind of point backwards. So that when a fish gets in that mouth and those backwards pointed teeth, it's not getting back out. Okay? So that's a largemouth bass. Yeah.
I see something red.
Yeah, that's the gills. Now the red part of the gills, is what they use to get oxygen out of the water. Whereas the white part, you see the white part pointing forward?
Yeah.
Those are what they use to hold on to their little fish prey. Okay, the other things that they're trying to do.
Can I see a pregnant fish?
A pregnant fish? No, we don't have any. There are some fish that give birth to live little babies, like guppies in your tank, and we have a native fish called a gambusia that live in all our ponds that do that.
Y'all have native fish?
Spikes in the back of his mouth.
What do you look
like? The little spikes in the back?
Yes, those little spikes are called gill rakers. Exactly. If you were to put your finger way down in his throat, which I'm not going to have y'all do, but if you could, they have sharp little spines like teeth on those spines. On those that when that little bluegill gets down in the throat, it's not coming back out.
Yeah, look in there.
Beta fish.
No beta fish.
No betas. No, do you have one in your tank at home? A beta? But you see. Well, betas are pretty cool. Okay. Now even these guys have spines. You see those sharp spines? Because they don't want to be eaten either. Okay. Even though they're the top predator that are out there, there are bigger bass than that out there that will eat them.
So bass, the other bass?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Well, they don't really have war, but they do. They do defend themselves against each other. Do you have a question? No? Okay.
How can something fit in that small mouth like a bigger fish?
It's not going to survive. It's going to be food at that point.
How's it feel, Trinity?
It feels really smooth and slimy.
It is. It's a lot smoother than the other fish.
You know why it's smooth and slimy? So it can swim through the water, and so things like things that would grab onto the outside can grab onto it. Let's get him back. We do need to get him back into the water.
He has to die.
Breathe.
Okay.
Can't breathe. Can you like
We
release
have
him
one
in
other
back
fish I'll show you.
the fish can't breathe. Oh, I saw that fish before.
Now, this is kind of related to that bluegill, except it does something very, very different. Now, this is called a red ear sunfish because it's got that red spot. And if you look, which way? Whoops. Oh, sorry. All right, look and see how his eyes kind of point down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The reason they point down is because it eats things on the bottom. Okay.
Like a bottom feeder kind of?
Yes, it feeds on snails. And so the other name for this fish is a shell cracker.
Can I touch him?
You can, but I'll show you something first. You know, you saw how spiky those points were on the gills of that bass? Look how round and blunt these are.
Yeah.
That's because it doesn't need sharp spiky ones, because it's not holding on to fish, it's holding on to snails.
What happens if we touch the red under it?
It won't hurt. Well, the red you don't want to do that because that's what they use to breathe. It'd be like somebody touching your lungs. You don't want that to happen. Okay, so we're not going to do that.
Be kind to the animals.
All right, guys, it's time to move on to your next station. So that's all right. You're going to get to see more fish down there. You're going to get to feed some fish. So go ahead.
Can I touch them?
Yeah, go ahead, real quick. All right, everybody does. All right, time to go.
Thank you so much.
I washed my hair. Yeah, I got another fish.